In the shadow-laced streets of New York City, chaos reigned. People ran frantically, their screams mingling with the guttural growls of alien hybrids, their fangs dripping with blood and entrails. The scene was one of unrelenting horror. Bodies lay strewn across the streets, some dismembered, others charred from explosions, their eyes frozen in terror. An army vehicle, heavily armored and armed to the teeth, tore through the madness, creating a path toward the Ark, a colossal spacecraft designed to carry the last of humanity to a new home. Sarah's voice filled with urgency as the army vehicle sped through the ravaged streets.
It's been 100 years since the alien parasites first landed on Earth. Our world has turned into a living nightmare,
she said, clutching her son close. The vehicle's mounted gun fired continuously, blasting alien hybrids left and right.
Hold on, Jack. We're almost there.
Desperate civilians pounded on the vehicle's sides, their faces masks of terror and hopelessness. Blood smeared the windows as those who couldn't hold on were trampled or devoured by the relentless hybrids, their screams gurgling as claws ripped through flesh. Sarah's voice, filled with urgency and fear, cut through the chaos inside the vehicle. She yelled over the noise, her eyes welling with tears as she clung to her son.
Jack, we're going to a place called Kepler 22b. It's a new beginning, a place where we can start over. But we have to get to the ship first.
Jack held on to his mother tightly, his eyes brimming with fear and bewilderment, trembling with each resounding explosion. Loud booms echoed around them as alien hybrids lunged at the convoy. The gunner atop their vehicle fired relentlessly, the staccato bursts of gunfire illuminating the night in a sickly green glow as alien blood sprayed everywhere. The vehicle swerved to avoid a crumbling building, its tires screeching against the cracked asphalt. People scattered in its wake, some falling victim to the marauding creatures, their screams abruptly silenced.
In the chaos of Earth's final days, humanity's last hope lay in the Ark, a massive spacecraft built to transport 10,000 survivors to the habitable planet Kepler 22b. The journey would take 5.5 years, with passengers rotating in cryosleep to ensure survival.
The Ark loomed ahead, a beacon of hope amidst the devastation. As they neared the ship, a monstrous hybrid leapt onto the vehicle, dragging the driver out and tearing him apart in a spray of blood and viscera. Sarah screamed, pulling Jack from the wreckage. They sprinted toward the Ark, dodging debris and bodies, the hatch closing ominously behind them as they barely made it inside. Sarah squeezed Jack's hand as they settled into their quarters, trying to calm her racing heart.
"We made it, Jack. We're safe now," she whispered, though deep down she knew their ordeal was far from over.
Sarah had always been a resilient figure, driven by an unyielding determination to protect her son, Jack. Before the invasion, she was a scientist working on advanced technologies, her research focusing on bioengineering solutions for human survival in extreme environments. This knowledge made her crucial to the mission to Kepler 22b, where her expertise would be essential in establishing a new colony. Unbeknownst to Sarah, Jack had smuggled a small bird aboard the Ark. Within days, the bird fell ill and died, but not before laying 5 eggs. These eggs hatched, releasing alien parasites into the ship's ventilation system, setting off a chain of terror. During a routine security check, Mark, a diligent and brave security officer, was making his rounds in the cryo-sleep chamber. As he passed by the rows of cryopods, something caught his eye, a dark, wet patch under one of the pods. His heart raced as he approached it. The flashlight beam illuminated the horror within, a gaping hole in the crew member's stomach, intestines spilling out mixed with alien slime. Mark staggered back, fumbling for his radio.
"Command, this is Security Officer Mark. We have a situation in the cryo-sleep chamber. One of the crew. Oh God. Damn. There's a hole in his stomach. I think something's inside him."
He stammered, his voice shaking with fear. The response was immediate.
Mark, secure the area. We're sending a medical team and security detail now. Do not let anyone else in.
Within minutes, the cryo-sleep chamber was a flurry of activity. Medics and armed security personnel, their faces grim and determined, surrounded the pod. The medical team worked quickly, extracting the crew member's body with careful precision. As they lifted him out, they discovered the worst. There was no sign of the creature that had burst from his stomach. The alien had escaped. Dr. Elena, a skilled medic with a background in xenobiology, arrived on the scene. Her knowledge became vital as the survivors struggled to understand and combat the new alien parasites.
This species is unlike anything we've seen before. We don't know much about it, but it's clear that it's extremely dangerous. We need to be cautious.
The discovery sent shockwaves through the ship. The Ark's corridors filled with the echo of urgent footsteps and tense conversations. Alarms blared, and the emergency lights bathed everything in an eerie red glow, casting long, sinister shadows. The command echoed through the intercom.
Scan everyone in cryosleep. We have alien carriers aboard the Ark. We need to ensure no one else is infected so we can stop the spread of the parasites.
Sarah's voice quivered as she recounted the chaos.
I remember the alarms blaring, the panic. It was total chaos. They woke us up one by one to scan for parasites inside carriers. It was a nightmare.
Sergeant Reed, the tough, no-nonsense leader of the colony's defense forces, coordinated the response. His experience in combat and strategic thinking helped organize the crew.
We have to remain calm and methodical. Check every vent, every corner. This thing is dangerous, but we are prepared.
The crew, now armed with advanced weapons, desperately tried to contain the outbreak. Sleek, lethal rifles and plasma guns were distributed among the security teams, each designed to incinerate the parasites on contact. The search was methodical, each cryopod scanned, each crew member scrutinized.
The crew managed to extract 3 of the parasites from the infected. But the 4th host was too far gone and had to be killed to prevent further spread.
The surgical extractions were brutal and bloody, each one a race against time to save the hosts before the parasites could fully mature. The operating room was a scene from a horror film, with blood-splattered walls and the agonized screams of those being operated on. Despite their efforts, the Queen alien remained elusive, slipping through the ventilation shafts and hidden passageways of the massive ship.
We believed we had contained it, yet the Queen remained at large.
As the Ark neared Kepler 22b, the tension on board reached its peak. The Queen alien, now fully grown and more dangerous than ever, launched a surprise attack on the pilot.
She attacked the pilot, causing the Ark to crash land.
Sarah recounted, her eyes wide with horror.
The Ark descended in a blaze of fire, spiraling out of control. The ship's hull screamed as it tore through Kepler 22b's atmosphere, crash landing in a dense alien forest. The impact scattered debris and fire across the landscape.
The crew and passengers, though battered and bruised, survived the crash.
Driven by a renewed sense of urgency, we successfully established bases, farms, and colonies.
Her voice a mix of relief and lingering fear. The Ark broke down into bases for housing and defenses, equipped with weapons and shields to protect against any threats from the unknown dangers of this new world. Sarah's voice carried a mix of hope and caution.
We thought the worst was over. We built our new home trying to forget the horrors we left behind.
Kepler 22b was a beautiful planet, a stark contrast to the desolation of Earth. Lush forests, clear lakes, and vibrant wildlife greeted the survivors. Towering trees with vibrant, luminescent leaves and a sky that shifted colors at twilight gave a sense of wonder and new beginnings. A year later, disaster struck again. Sarah recalled the event vividly.
A woman fell ill after drinking from a lake. Her eyes turned black, and she vomited violently. We isolated her in a containment cell, but it wasn't enough.
A critical colony-wide alert was released.
To ensure the safety of all colonists, please be advised that all water sources, including rivers, ponds, and oceans, are currently deemed unsafe for drinking. A further update will be provided soon.
The woman's condition deteriorated rapidly. Her skin turned an ashen gray, and her veins bulged black and twisted. Her eyes, once vibrant, became lifeless pits of darkness. The containment cell reeked of decay and something far more sinister. She began to convulse violently, her screams echoing through the corridors of the colony. The sound was unlike anything they had ever heard, a mix of agony and otherworldly growls. The woman was soon found encased in a black, pulsating cocoon. Attempts to destroy it failed. The creature within lashed out, and a tentacle killed one of the scientists trying to study it. Sarah's voice was filled with horror with what she was about to see.
The cocoon convulsed, a sickening crack splitting it wide. A nightmare emerged, emaciated, black and red, with demonic wings. Glowing yellow eyes locked on us, and then it screamed, a sound that shredded sanity. People yelled, scrambling for cover. Before anyone could react, it tore through them, stealing 3 lives in a flash. Then, in a rage, it escaped.
Simultaneously, a man went missing. Panic spread through the colony as search parties were sent out. Hours later, his body was discovered in the farm building, lifeless and brutally torn apart. His chest cavity was ripped open, and his internal organs were strewn around the room. It was clear he had fallen victim to the alien queen, still lurking in the shadows.
This wasn't some primitive beast.
Sarah continued, her voice trembling.
This monstrosity was a product of our new home, birthed from the waters of Kepler 22b. Not just a memory of Earth's parasitic invasion, it was a terrifying present, a new predator perfectly adapted to this alien environment.
The colony's broadcast systems crackled to life. Sarah listened in disbelief.
This is not an isolated incident.
The voice on the broadcast warned.
Scans have detected multiple similar life forms in the surrounding area. We have an alien threat among us, one unlike anything we've encountered before. Head to the armory and arm yourselves. The fight for survival is far from over.
Sarah's voice was determined as she spoke to her fellow survivors.
We believed we had escaped the aliens, but they have followed us here. The real battle for survival is only just beginning.
Humanity's battle for existence on Kepler 22b was far from over. The alien queen and her offspring were still out there, lurking in the shadows. In the depths of Kepler 22b's waters lay a terrifying secret, a parasitic life form that twisted humanity into a nightmarish new form. As alarms blared and sirens screamed, the survivors braced for battle, knowing that the next wave of horror was imminent. The true fight for their future had only just begun. But just as they thought they were ready, a chilling message crackled over the intercom.
They have breached the perimeter.
The sound of something monstrous slithering through the base sent shivers down their spines. In the dim emergency lighting, shadows twisted and moved unnaturally, hinting at horrors unseen. The survivors' hearts pounded as the intercom crackled again.
They've breached the goddamn perimeter. The unholy aliens. Things are coming through the walls. They're already among us. Brace yourselves, people. This is it. This is where we make our stand.